Imagine this: you've been waiting patiently for Samsung's next big thing, the Galaxy S26 Ultra. You've heard whispers online, seen blurry renders, caught wind of early rumors. Maybe you're even thinking about upgrading from your S23 or S24. You're excited. But what if I told you that this phone might not be the dramatic leap forward you're hoping for, yet it could still be the most important Galaxy phone in years? That's the strange, fascinating paradox of the Galaxy S26 Ultra. Because while it might not blow you away with flashy new features on the surface, Samsung is quietly doing something far more strategic underneath. They're not just building another phone. They're laying the foundation for the next era of mobile technology. One that won't fully arrive until a few years from now. And in the process, they're making choices that will leave some fans thrilled and others deeply frustrated. Before we dive in, if you enjoy deep, thoughtful tech updates like this, ones that go beyond headlines and specs, please consider subscribing to Gadget. We post daily insights on upcoming devices, real-world implications of new tech, and what these changes actually mean for you as a user. No hype, no fluff. Just clear, useful information to help you make smarter decisions. Now, back to the S26 Ultra. Let's start with the one thing almost every smartphone user cares about more than anything else: battery life. For years, people have begged Samsung to give the Ultra series a bigger battery. After all, these are premium devices. Thick enough to fit more juice, powerful enough to justify it. But if early reports and insider leaks are accurate, Samsung is once again sticking with the same 5,000 mAh capacity we've seen since the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Yes, you read that right. Same size, same number, same physical space inside the phone. This might not sound like a disaster on its own. After all, 5,000 mAh is still a respectable number, and with smarter software and more efficient chips, real-world battery life could still improve slightly. But here's the problem: the competition hasn't stood still. Brands like Xiaomi, OnePlus, and even Google are now pushing batteries well beyond 5,000 mAh, some nearing 6,000 mAh, without making their phones feel bloated or unwieldy. They're using newer battery materials, better thermal designs, and more aggressive power management. So why isn't Samsung doing the same? The answer isn't laziness or stubbornness, it's caution. Samsung has always prioritized safety, longevity, and reliability over raw power. Remember the Note 7. That disaster still echoes in Samsung's engineering decisions today. So even though users clamor for a larger battery, the company would rather refine what they have than risk instability. But, and this is a big but, Samsung isn't ignoring the future. In fact, behind closed doors, their battery division is working on something potentially revolutionary: silicon, carbon battery technology. Now, that might sound like sci-fi jargon, but it's actually a real and promising path forward in battery science. Today's lithium-ion batteries use graphite anodes. Silicon, carbon blends can store significantly more energy in the same space because silicon holds about 10 times more lithium than graphite. The catch: pure silicon expands and cracks during charging cycles, which ruins the battery quickly. That's why it's not used alone. By blending silicon with carbon in precise ratios, engineers can reduce swelling, extend lifespan, and boost both capacity and charging speed, all without making the phone thicker. Samsung has confirmed they're investing heavily in this tech. They've already built pilot production lines and are testing prototypes. But here's the key detail: this breakthrough won't be ready for the S26 Ultra. It's still a year or two away from mass production. So while you won't get a bigger battery this time around, the S26 Ultra might be the last Galaxy phone that doesn't benefit from this leap. In that sense, it's a bridge, a final holdover before the next wave of true innovation hits Samsung's lineup. Now let's talk about something that's uniquely Ultra: the S Pen. For years, this built-in stylus has been Samsung's signature differentiator. It's why creatives, note-takers, and power users choose the Ultra over every other flagship. But recently, there's been growing confusion and disappointment about its capabilities. Specifically, Bluetooth support. A few generations ago, Samsung added Bluetooth to the S Pen, allowing you to use it as a remote control. You could take selfies from a distance, pause presentations, even play music, all by tapping or gesturing with the pen. It was a neat trick, if not essential for most people. But then, quietly, Samsung removed it. Starting with the S22 Ultra, the S Pen no longer had Bluetooth connectivity. And all current evidence suggests that trend will continue with the S26 Ultra. Multiple reliable supply chain sources and firmware analysts confirm there's no sign of Bluetooth hardware returning to the stylus. Why? Again, it comes down to priorities. Bluetooth adds cost, complexity, and a tiny bit of extra battery drain, both for the pen itself and the phone managing the connection. And in real-world usage, very few people actually use those remote features regularly. Most just wanted precise writing, smooth sketching, and low latency. So Samsung made a calculated decision: strip away the flashy extras and double down on what truly matters: performance, accuracy, and reliability. For hardcore fans who loved using the S Pen as a presentation clicker or camera remote, this is undeniably a letdown. But for the vast majority of users, the pen will still feel just as responsive, just as useful, as if nothing's missing at all. It's a classic case of Samsung choosing practicality over novelty. Now, let's shift gears to where the S26 Ultra really shines: performance. And here, Samsung is playing a clever, two-part game. If you live in South Korea, you'll likely get the new Exynos 2600 chip, an in-house processor built on a cutting-edge 2-nanometer manufacturing process. That's a big deal. To put it simply, smaller nanometer numbers mean transistors are packed tighter together, which leads to better efficiency, less heat, and more computing power per watt of energy used. The Exynos 2600 reportedly features a 10-core CPU design with a mix of high-performance and ultra-efficient cores, optimized not just for speed, but for sustainability over time. More importantly, Samsung is baking serious AI capabilities directly into this chip. Think real-time photo enhancement, smarter voice assistants, on-device language translation, and even generative AI features, like creating images or text without needing an internet connection. This isn't just about gaming or app loading speeds anymore. It's about making the phone truly intelligent in everyday use. The graphics side has also seen a major overhaul. A new GPU architecture brings improved ray tracing, something that makes lighting and shadows in games look far more realistic, and better thermal management during long sessions. So even if you're playing for hours, the phone won't throttle performance as aggressively as before. But here's the twist: if you live almost anywhere else in the world, North America, Europe, India, Southeast Asia, you probably won't get this Exynos chip. Instead, you'll receive the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, and honestly, for many users that's not a bad thing. Historically, Samsung's Exynos chips have struggled with power efficiency and heat compared to Snapdragon, especially in global markets with different network bands and software requirements. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 is expected to be Qualcomm's most advanced mobile platform yet: faster, cooler, and better optimized for AI workloads. It's also what developers test their apps and games on first, meaning smoother real-world performance. So Samsung's strategy is clear: use Exynos to showcase their in-house innovation and control their long-term chip destiny, especially important amid global semiconductor tensions. But rely on Snapdragon to deliver consistent, reliable performance for the majority of customers. It's a balancing act, one that acknowledges both ambition and reality. What about when you'll actually be able to buy this thing? That's another layer of intrigue. The Galaxy S26 Ultra has already shown up in multiple regulatory databases around the world: Thailand's NBTC, the US FCC, and China's CCC. These certifications don't reveal the full spec sheet, but they do confirm one crucial fact: the hardware is finalized. Samsung isn't still tinkering with prototypes. They're in the final stages of production, running quality checks, and preparing for assembly lines to start rolling. But the launch date? That's less certain. For years, Samsung stuck to a predictable schedule: unveil the new S series in early February, release it by late February or early March. But recent reports suggest they might be shifting gears. Some insiders claim Samsung is re-evaluating its entire product lineup, possibly streamlining models, adjusting regional variants, or even integrating AI features more deeply before going public. As a result, the S26 Ultra might not debut until mid-February at the earliest, possibly even slipping into March. And unlike previous years, there's strong speculation that Samsung will host the launch event not in Seoul, but in the United States, perhaps New York or San Francisco, to emphasize its global ambitions and AI-forward messaging. But here's what really matters when you zoom out: the Galaxy S26 Ultra isn't trying to be a revolution, it's an evolution, a refinement, a careful, deliberate step toward something bigger. Samsung isn't betting everything on one phone. They're playing the long game. Every decision, From holding back on battery size to removing Bluetooth from the S Pen to splitting chip strategies, is part of a much larger plan. They're investing billions in next-gen batteries. They're building their own AI ecosystem. They're perfecting their chip designs for a future where smartphones do more than just connect us. They anticipate our needs, enhance our creativity, and protect our privacy, all without draining the battery or overheating. For someone coming from an S20, S21, or even an S22, the S26 Ultra will still feel like a dramatic upgrade. The display will be brighter and smoother. The cameras will capture more detail with smarter processing. The phone will feel faster, cooler, and more responsive. It will still be a premium, polished, top-tier device, worthy of the Ultra name. But for the tech enthusiasts, the early adopters, the people who live for breakthroughs, they might walk away feeling a little underwhelmed. No radical redesign, no massive battery leap, no surprise new feature that redefines what a phone can do. And yet, that's exactly the point. Because Samsung seems to understand something important. Real innovation isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It happens in labs, in battery factories, in AI research centers. It's tested, refined, and perfected before it ever touches your hand. The Galaxy S26 Ultra might not be the phone that changes everything, but it could very well be the phone that sets the stage for the next decade of Samsung innovation. And in a world full of flashy gimmicks and short-term hype, that kind of patience, that kind of vision, is actually pretty rare. So whether you're planning to buy it on day one, or just keeping an eye on where mobile tech is headed, the S26 Ultra is worth your attention. Not because it's perfect, but because it's purposeful. If you found this deep dive helpful or interesting, we'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button. It helps more people discover thoughtful tech content like this. And don't forget to subscribe to Gadget for daily updates on the latest devices, honest analysis, and what really matters in the ever-changing world of technology. We've got more videos coming soon on AI in smartphones, battery breakthroughs, and how to choose your next phone wisely, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.